This is a story about finding your passion and using it to disrupt your life for the better. Disruption is defined as a disturbance in an event, activity, or outcome. And to me, that immediately relates to a Twitter notification, to my smartphone vibrating me, alerting me of a Snapchat message, to the information flood and distractions that we all face from the moment we wake up to the moment we fall asleep, from news feeds and social media sites to streaming services and smartphone apps. The world today seems to have sped up in a way that no longer allows us as humans to be reflective, thoughtful, and to slow down, to take the time and actually act on what we truly believe in. Ironically, this information flood is what tells us all about the massive challenges that we face in our time. Yet, in order to successfully tackle these challenges, it is my unwavering belief that we now, more than ever, need to be more thoughtful, reflecting, and passionate. That we need to stimulate conversation and action around removing the barriers that we have put in place that stop us from being our true selves. My journey begins in 2015, where I was an engineer graduating from the mechanical engineering program at UMB. I was 23 years old, and I was sitting on my couch when I realized that I hadn't put any thought into the next steps, into what my passions truly were. I spent the summer traveling, and through that had several realizations, which made me realize that I wanted to follow climate change related work in whatever role that might be. I decided to come back to UMB and take the Master's in Entrepreneurship program and start a company. I had an idea that could change everything. It was an app, ironically, that would track individual energy savings and combine them in communities and cities, stimulating competition. I began reading climate change knowledge on a daily basis, and that is a deep, dark path to follow. I began questioning, why aren't people doing more? Why don't we care more? I came across the topic of environmental footprinting, which examines the amount of resources a single person uses. I took the test, and it was a shocking result. I realized that if everyone lived like me, we would need the equivalent of 4.2 planets. And I thought, I need to change my habits, because why don't I care? Why am I not doing more? I stopped eating meat, I drove less, I used less packaging. But none of it stuck. I couldn't make it into a habit. I realized that maybe I need to change the narrative from, instead of saying I'm too busy and I don't have time, to saying, what if I'm choosing not to make time? Where am I spending my time on? I began looking at my routines of getting up late, of going to work too late, going to bed too late, all the distractions in my life, YouTube, social media feeds, news sites. I realized I checked CBC and BBC more than 30 times a day. And for what? Pure addictions. I came home to vegetate to Netflix. I couldn't focus anymore. I couldn't mentally function. It was like oil floating on the surface of water. My thoughts could never dive down below the surface and think more than just superficially. And I realized I needed a change. One night I decided to delete Facebook. And going through the process, a message came up. Well, Brent will miss you, Josh will miss you, Megan will miss you. And I realized the arrogance in Facebook of thinking that their news feed is the only way to interact with friends. Next was Netflix, House of Cards, my favorite binging show. I knew everything about it. But I realized I knew nothing about our own political system, the one that governs our actual lives. And in slowly reducing the distractions in my life, it was hard. It took a lot of time, and I really struggled. But I followed my goal of reducing my footprint and following my environmental passions, and that allowed me to persevere. And slowly, building habits based on passion rather than distraction, disruption, became easier. In relating everything back to climate change, my own big why, I was able to remove the distractions and improve everything from work to personal relationships to health, both mental and physical. I realized that we first truly need to care in order to overcome the disruptions that exist everywhere in our lives. And so whatever your distractions might be, I'm telling you and asking you to ask yourself, what are the situations, the people, the ideas that you truly care about? And using those as the driving force to overcome and disrupt the distractions in your life and instead follow through on your passions. Thank you.